Genesis chapter 15. After these things, the word of the Lord came to Abram in a vision, saying, "Fear not, Abram, I am your shield, your abundant compensation, and your reward shall be exceedingly great." The reference is to the Lord as Abraham's king. And Abraham said, "Lord God, what can you give me, since I am going on from this world childless, and he who shall be the owner and heir of my house is this steward Eliezer of Damascus?" And Abraham continued, "Look, you have given me no child, and a servant born in my house is my, and behold, the word of the Lord came to him, saying, This man shall not be your heir, but he who shall come from your own body shall be your heir." And he brought him outside his tent into the starlight and said, "Look now toward the heavens and count the stars, if you are able to number them." Then he said to him, "So shall your descendants be." And he, Abram, believed in, trusted in, relied on, remained steadfast to the Lord, and he counted it to him as righteousness, right standing with God. And he said to him, "I am the same Lord who brought you out of Ur of the Chaldees to give you this land as an inheritance." But he, Abram, said, "Lord God, by what shall I know that I shall inherit it?" And he said to him, Bring to me a heifer 3 years old, a she-goat 3 years old, a ram 3 years old, a turtle dove, and a young pigeon. And he brought him all these and cut them down the middle into halves and laid each half opposite the other. But the birds he did not divide. And when the birds of prey swooped down upon the carcasses, Abram drove them away. When the sun was setting, a deep sleep overcame Abram, and a horror, a terror, a shuddering fear of great darkness assailed and oppressed him. And God said to Abram, Know positively that your descendants will be strangers, dwelling as temporary residents in a land that is not theirs, Egypt, and they will be slaves there, and will be afflicted and oppressed for 400 years. But I will bring judgment on that nation whom they will serve, and afterward they will come out with great possessions. And you shall go to your fathers in peace. You shall be buried at a good old hoary age. And in the 4th generation, they, your descendants, shall come back here to Canaan again. For the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet full and complete. This prophecy was literally fulfilled. Moses, for example, who led the Israelites back to Canaan after their 400 years in Egypt, was in the 4th generation from Jacob, Levi, Kohath, Amram, Moses. The most important and powerful group of that region, the name Amorite, later became virtually synonymous with that of the inhabitants of Canaan generally. when the sun had gone down and a thick darkness had come on, behold, a smoking oven and a flaming torch passed between those pieces. On the same day, the Lord made a covenant promise pledge with Abram, saying, to your descendants I have given this land, from the river of Egypt to the great river Euphrates, the land of the Canaanite, the Kenizzite, the Cadmonite, the Hittite, the Perizzite, the Rephaim, the Amorite, the Canaanite, the Girgashite, and the Jebusite. Precious DC Destroyer of Fallen Worlds, 소중한 베지트님, 소중한 별하나님, Precious AF 6-7, are you still here, Precious DC? 마무리예요. I think Precious DC is not here, so I'll just read chapter 16. 계속 읽어볼게요. Now, Sarai, Abram's wife, had borne him no children. She had an Egyptian maid whose name was Hagar. And Sarai said to Abram, see here, the Lord has restrained me from bearing children. I am asking you to have intercourse with my maid. It may be that I can obtain children by her. And Abraham listened to and heeded what Sarai said. So Sarai, Abraham's wife, took Hagar, her Egyptian maid, after Abraham had dwelt 10 years in the land of Canaan, and gave her to her husband Abram to be his secondary wife. And he had intercourse with Hagar, and she became pregnant. And when she saw that she was with child, she looked with contempt upon her mistress and despised her. Then Sarai said to Abram, "May the responsibility for my wrong and deprivation of right be upon you. I gave my maid into your bosom, and when she saw that she was with child, I was contemptible and despised in her eyes. May the Lord be the judge between you and me." But Abram said to Sarai, "See here, your maid is in your hands and power. Do as you please with her." And when Sarai dealt severely with her, humbling and afflicting her, she, Hagar, fled from her. But the angel of the Lord found her by a spring of water in the wilderness on the road to Shur. The angel of the Lord, or of God, or of his presence, is readily identified with the Lord God. But it is obvious that the angel of the Lord is a distinct person in himself from God the Father. In human form, he must of necessity be one of the three in one Godhead. The angel of the Lord is the visible Lord God of the Old Testament, as Jesus Christ is of the New Testament. Thus, his deity is clearly portrayed in the Old Testament. The Cambridge Bible observed there is a fascinating forecast of the coming Messiah breaking through the dimness with amazing consistency at intervals from Genesis to Malachi. Abraham, Moses, the slave girl Hagar, the impoverished farmer Gideon, even the humble parents of Samson had seen and talked with him centuries before the herald angels proclaimed his birth in Bethlehem. He said, Hagar, Sarah's maid, where did you come from? And where are you intending to go? And she said, I am running away from my mistress Sarai. The angel of the Lord said to her, Go back to your mistress and humbly submit to her control. Also, the angel of the Lord said to her, I will multiply your descendants exceedingly, so that they shall not be numbered for multitude. And the angel of the Lord continued, See, now you are with child, and shall bear a son, and shall call his name Ishmael. God hears, because the Lord has heard and paid attention to your affliction. And he, Ishmael, will be as a wildest among men. Wildest. His hand will be against every man, and every man's hand against him, and he will live to the east and on the borders of all his kinsmen. Nothing can be more descriptive of the wandering, lawless, free-putting life of the Arabs than this. From the beginning to the present, they have kept their independence, and God preserves them as a lasting monument of His providential care, and an incontestable argument of the truth of divine revelation. Had the books of Moses no other proof of their divine origin, the account of Ishmael and the prophecy concerning his descendants during a period of nearly 4,000 years would be sufficient. To attempt to refute it would be a most ridiculous presumption and folly. So she called the name of the Lord who spoke to her. You are a God of seeing. For she said, have I not even here in the wilderness looked upon him who sees me and lived? Or have I here also seen the future purposes or designs of him who sees me? Therefore, the well was called Bir Lahai Roi, a well to the living one who sees me. It is between Kadesh and Bered. It is between Kadesh and Bered is further proof of the antiquity of the original names, since the place had to be identified to the reader in the time of Moses. And Hagar bore Abram a son, and Abram called the name of his son, whom Hagar bore, Ishmael. Ishmael was the first person whom God named before his birth. Others were Isaac, Josiah, Solomon, Jesus, and John the Baptist. Abram was 86 years old when Hagar bore Ishmael. 바나나 가이님, 오늘도 너무 소중한 시간 함께 해주셔서 정말 감사합니다. Thank you so much for sharing this precious moment. I believe God always sees us, are with you always, and wishing you a peaceful, blessed night. 언제나 여러분을 보고 계시는 하나님이 항상 소중한 여러분들과 함께 계시다고 믿고요. 모두 평안하고 축복이 가득한 밤 하루